Hi everyone and welcome to today's video. Today I'll be showing you how to create an animated progress ring in Figma. As you can see, when I click on this, you can actually see that my progress ring is actually animating and it goes all the way up to 100. Now as of today, there is no direct way of doing this in Figma, but I found a hack to do it and to make sure it actually animates progressively. So without wasting time, let's get into today's video. Alright, so this is gonna be it. So we're gonna call our project animated progress ring, or someone else will call it an animated progress bar, doesn't matter. We're gonna insert a frame. The size doesn't matter, just make sure it's actually just long enough. Alright, so before we do anything else, we're gonna insert some ellipses. So we're gonna insert some 2 ellipses we're gonna be using for play animation. So we're going to change this to give it an orange color, something orange like that. Right, looking good. Then we're going to make use of a plugin I've installed. It's called the Morph plugin. We're going to use it to just do some little skeuomorphism. I just love that effect. So just make sure it's set to this bump, then we're going to apply. Then when we do that, we can actually get rid of this. Actually, before we do, let's change this to gray. It's actually a duplicate. We're going to change the original to gray. And we're going to apply another morph. So just go back to the morph plugin, then apply another skeuomorphism. Alright, and there we go, we have another color. And just click apply. Alright, that's it. Then we can get rid of this. So we're going to make use of these as our play and restart buttons. Just make sure to position them right there. So these are going to be very vital. Right, just want to make sure they're centered. Then we're going to make use of our Iconify plugin to insert some icons. So we're going to have an icon for restart. So that would do. Then we're going to have one for play. Okay, so we're going to make use of this. Just drag it in there. Alright. So these come when they're actually inside frames. We can just drag them out of the frames they come in. We don't need the frames that they come with. Then get rid of that. Right, so we're gonna place this right above there. So just gonna scale it up a little bit. Right, then we're gonna center it right there. So black will do. We're gonna place this right at the center. Right, that will do. We're gonna give this a white color. Right, so next to the most interesting part, we're gonna work on our progress ring. Make use of our ellipse tool here to create some ellipses. These are going to be useful for our progress ring. Then we're going to zoom in and then just make sure to click on this arc and then just drag. Right, then we're going to drag and then change the ratio. We want to make sure it's actually thin. Okay, something like that. Then we can close this sweep. Just make sure to close it. Okay, so we're gonna give this a black color. Right, so next we're gonna duplicate this by holding Alt on our keyboard, and then we're gonna go back to where there is the sweep here, and then we're gonna make some changes. So just make sure to drag the sweep until it's at 50%, actually negative 50%. Right, so that would do. And we're gonna give this an orange color. Just make sure you use the eyedropper tool. We're gonna give it that orange. Alright, then we're gonna give it a rotation of 90. Okay, so that's looking good. We're gonna place it onto the other ellipse. Just make sure to place it until it actually fits. Let's just zoom in. So making use of my direction tools. Right, so right there it actually fits very well. Just make sure it actually fits perfectly. Right, so there we go. That's gonna be our first part. So we're gonna make use of our rectangle tool here. Sorry, I mean the rectangle tool. But before we do that, we're gonna duplicate this. Let's first duplicate this. Just select both of these ellipses, then we're gonna duplicate this. Click Alt. Right, so we need a duplicate copy. So make use of this rectangle tool. Then we're gonna cover our shape here. So just give this rectangle tool a white color. Sorry, and then just make sure the rectangle tool is set. Bring it to front. Okay, bring it to front. Just make sure to give it a white color. Sorry about that. Want to make sure that everything is actually just basically organized. Just want to make sure, oh, this ellipse is actually not within our frames. Just make sure it's actually within the frame. Make sure it's right below the rectangle tool. Alright, so the rectangle tool is actually covering half of it, and that's actually how we want it. So we're just gonna hold it there. Alright, so we're gonna go to this duplicate we have just made, and then we're gonna rotate this. We just want to make sure to rotate this orange by -90. So just click -90. Alright, so we're gonna make a duplicate of this rectangle tool we have here. So just hold Alt, gonna duplicate it, then we're gonna make use of it. So we're gonna place it right below. So just make sure it's right below this entire shape. It's important that it's actually right below. So just select everything, and then we're gonna right click and then use as mask. Right, so there we go. Alright, sorry, so just make sure to select the entire mask group, and they're gonna drag and place it within. Let's zoom in and make sure that we position it rightly until it looks seamless. Right, so there we go. It actually now looks like one circle, but you'll get the idea. Alright, so next we're gonna make use of some percentages. So we're gonna type in, so we're gonna start from 0%. Alright, so just make sure to increase this font size to 50. We actually want to make sure it's actually big. We're gonna make use of a font type I like so much. It's called Poppins. Then we make sure that is set to bold. Right, so Poppins bold looks good. Right, so we're gonna enter. Then next is 10%, 20%, enter, 30%, 40%, 50%, 60%, 70%, 80%. Sorry, you can't see that. 90%, 100%. Right, and then next, just make sure all your text is aligned to center. Right, there we go. Then we're gonna make use of, we're gonna do more masking. Just make use of this rectangle tool right there. Then we wanna mask this text. Right, so we're gonna give our text a stroke. Then first hide the fill. Then we just wanna make sure that our text appears. Just make sure the height is, just make sure it fits within. Right, that will work. Right, then we're gonna just make sure I put the fill again, remove the stroke, won't need that. Alright, so just make sure the rectangle is set below the text. Right, then right click and then use as mask. Right, so there we go. Alright, so just make sure to select the entire mask group. I'm gonna place that text right in the center. Alright, just make sure it's centered. Right, there we go. Actually, we can just center it like that. Alright, so that's gonna be our first step. So we're gonna duplicate our frame. I do that by clicking Ctrl D. Right, so in our next frame, I'm gonna change this text to 50. So just go to your text, and then we're gonna just click on your up arrow on your keyboard to just make sure to go up to 50%. So what I'll do is I'll play with these digits. I'll just go to -500. Oh, that's actually too far. Let's try -350. Alright, so just want to make sure that it's the 50% that is visible. Right, so there we go. Right, so in our second frame, we're gonna go to where we have ellipse. So we're gonna first leave that which is in the mask group. So just go to what you have as ellipse 2, and then we're gonna rotate it, as you can see. But to do it quicker, just rotate it until it's at -90. Alright, so it's gonna animate until it's halfway. Right, so we're gonna duplicate this again, duplicate your second frame. Right, and then we're in frame 3. Now there is something we'll have to work on and be careful about. So I want to make sure that when I go to frame 3 that the orange color in the mask group actually flips and increases. Now we need to direct our prototyping. We need to make it clear for us to know that it should actually rotate going this way, what I'll call clockwise. So what we'll do, just go to that inner orange and then just click and just make sure it's set to -91. Okay. Right, so that's actually going to be for direction. So frame 3 is actually going to be for direction. So we're going to duplicate our frame 3, click Ctrl D, and then we're going to go back to it again, and then now we're going to rotate it fully. Okay, just rotate it fully until it's at 90. Alright, so there we go. Then we're going to change our texts, just drag it until we have the 100. I'll just go type in -600 to see how far it will go. Alright, so that's much better until the 100 appears. Right, so that's looking good. Right, so our animation is actually looking good. Right, so next we're gonna do some prototyping. So we're gonna go to our prototyping mode. Then we're gonna start from frame 1. So we wanna make sure that when a user clicks on this, wanna make sure there's an interaction on click. Wanna make sure that there is a navigation to frame 2. And then we're gonna make sure it's set smart animation. Now I want that to happen slowly, progressively. So we're gonna set the timing to 3000. Okay. Alright, so that's it with frame 1. So we're gonna go to frame 2. Alright, so just make sure to select the frame. Now inside frame 2, we just are gonna say after delay. I wanna make sure that after a delay of 1 second, actually 1 millisecond, not a second, navigate to frame 3. Now I wanna make sure that happens. I want to make sure that actually happens in a smart animation also. Now that will only take, we're going to set that to 10 milliseconds because we want that to happen very quickly since there is only a slight change in frame 3. Right, so that's it with frame 3. So it's frame 2. Now we're going to go to our frame 3 and then we're also going to add another interaction. So same thing, after delay, I want to make sure there is only a delay of 1 milliseconds. Navigate to frame 4. Just make sure to set that to smart animation. Then also make sure it happens slowly. Set that to 3000. Actually, it's better to just say it to 2990. Okay. Right. So that change will happen. And then want to have an option in our frame 4. So that when a user clicks on this, it will actually take them back to the original frame. So when a user clicks on that, it will take them back to frame 1. That should actually happen instantly. Right. So there we go. That's it. So we're going to test our progress ring. Give it a second to load. Right. So and it has actually loaded. So let's see what happens when you click on play. You can actually see there is the animation happening. And actually goes on to 100%. So when I click on the restart button, it takes me back to the first frame, and then as you can see, it's actually working smoothly. So that's actually what I wanted to show you. If you learned something for this video and you liked it, just feel free to leave a like and a comment, tell me what you felt about the video. And if you're new to this channel, I encourage you to join in the community by subscribing, and please make sure to hit that notification bell so that you get updates every single time I upload a new video. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you all in my next video. Bye. Thank you.